YSlow and Jawr. Yesterday we had to talk about Firebug, and nice plugin for Firefox. I decided to take it one step further and present on a plugin to a plugin, which is YSlow. Next slide. So what is YSlow? YSlow is developed by Yahoo, and it allows you to basically, the issue is that 80% of the end user response time is spent on the front end. So the problem I always see, like the Java developers, are like, oh, my application is slow. What do I do? Make my database faster, my middle tier, whatever, all that kind of stuff. But the thought about the UI stuff never really comes up too often. So YSlow in that regard helps you. It basically runs as a plugin in Firebug in Firefox. That's the URL where you can get it, and it will basically analyze your website basically and give you a number basically, and it tells you literally for each category what's wrong with your site. And what it basically does is YSlow basically has this categorization, and I can give you. Yahoo has a really good best practices for basically has a really good read on their website in terms of what you can do to speed up your UI basically of your website. And in this regard, I'm also mentioning this primarily, I guess, for standard HTML based stuff, not necessarily what James is doing, or even like for GWT stuff. Different rules, a little bit apply since they have their own organization. But basically, what they say is that slide, reduce HTTP requests. So particularly now with all the Ajax stuff and all this, CSS and JavaScript stuff, we do all kinds of HTTP requests back to our servers. So a good way of reducing that amount is to reduce those HTTP requests. One good way to do it is, for example, to merge all your stuff together. So instead of sending over 5 different JavaScript files, just put it into one file. Same for CSS stuff. So another way is to make your stuff you're sending over the wire smaller. So for JavaScript and CSS, you can minify your files, for example, just taking out the white space and all that stuff. Another one is to send it compressed using JSON, for example. Further one, you can add caching, or also for images, use, for example, some deliver your sources closer to geographic locations. Say content in that regard, content delivery networks. I think Google, for example, they have allow you to standard libraries they provide through their content delivery network. The way to achieve this is using Jawr, which is a Java library which acts as a subnet filter, and at the startup of the application, it will actually minify, zip stuff up, merge everything together. So you're basically just sending one request for JavaScript and one request for CSS. It also has all kinds of integration for example, if you're using the old days DWR, it has stuff for Rails that they're supporting there. They even have GMX support in there, so I've never done anything like it, but they do quite some development on that little library. This is, for example, how you would use it within your JSP page, for example. They have their own little JSP, their own tag library, and basically you just reference this, and then you configure it in a way that, let me just go over to my clips. You have a little properties file, Java properties, where you can actually define that you have a certain directory structure where you just all the JavaScript files you dump into that directory. It will automatically merge those automatically at startup time. You can also do, it has debugging capabilities. So for example, during debug, you of course want to have everything separate, potentially also for inspection, etc. So we can do that. And what else? 14 seconds. That's, I think, pretty much it. Just to give you a quick how it looks like on CNN, which you just run the test.